Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for the fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair. All topics are for entertainment purposes only. None of the information presented in this video or by VGIRLTV should be taken as fact. Every situation is based on personal experience. Image Boutique is located in the Centro Comercial de los Pueblos Mall, located in Panama City, just 15 minutes away from Colon Airport. We specialize in hair care, wig extensions, and much more. Come visit us.
Hey V Squad, hey guys, let me know in the comment section if you can hear me down in the comment section. Welcome everyone to the channel. You know it's still early, we're literally like 3 minutes in, so people are still coming in, but let me know if you can hear me in the comment section. Let me know if you can hear me in the comment section. Yeah. I don't see no comments, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. For those of you who are on perfecto, those of you who are on Instagram, we are live on YouTube at VGIRLTV. So if you are on Instagram, you won't be able to hear the other person, so you have to log on or you have to sign in on YouTube. So hi, amazing Oski. Hi, everybody. I am. Welcome. There's still people that's still coming in on the live, so I'm gonna take this opportunity while we're still waiting for our guests to appear. Yes, V Squad, welcome. I'm going to take this opportunity to do my announcements. You know, we always have to do our announcements in the beginning. This way we can give people time to come in the live. So first things first, guys, the Christmas drive, the toy drive for the children of Colon City. Yes, people, if you have been checking the community tab, you'll see that I have already started purchasing items for the toy drive for the Christmas party that we're planning to have in Colon. So for those of you who donated so far to the GoFundMe, I'm sorry. Thank you, okay? I'm always where I am. I always try to pick up if I see something because I'm the kind of person I'm not going to buy anything for anybody, okay? I'm going to make sure that it's I would personally buy. Oh, God, no, don't tell me that. Hold on, people. Let me know if it's any better now. Let me know if it got any better. Any better? Now? Oh my God, why does this happen? Hold on, let me get off the screen. Okay, let me know if it's still staticky. I swear, I'm gonna have to start using another streaming platform because. Mm-mm. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so for those of you who donated to the toy drive, I just want to say thank you so much. You guys are going to make some children very, very happy, and I've been getting things already, buying toys and stuff. And you guys can check that out in the community tab on my YouTube. I actually just posted some toys that I got today. Because every day as I go out, I always buy something, and I'm a firm believer in if I wouldn't give it to my own kids, I wouldn't give it to somebody else. I feel like people do toy drives and they give these kids whatever. Um, just because, and I'm not that type of person. I want to make sure that I'm giving these kids quality gifts. So, those of you once again who have donated to the toy drive, thank you so much. You can look in the community tab. If you are in Panama and you want to donate, you can buy any toy. Um, we have a lot of things for little kids. You want to get something that for the 14-year-olds, 12 or 14-year-olds, if you are planning to buy something and you want to donate it. But yes, you definitely are going to go. So let me put this on the screen because people aren't going to be able to see it. Um, will we be seeing the kids open the gifts? Yes, you will. I'm trying to think if I'm either going to do a live or I'm going to do a vlog showing the kids, well, the activity. Because if I'm able to get all the gifts for all the kids, and if I have money left over, I want to do like a party where I'm getting like a cotton candy machine, a popcorn machine, and I can get someone to dress up like Santa to actually give the kids a gift because I have a list of the kids' name and their ages. So each gift will be personalized. So yes, you guys will be able to see the kids getting the gifts. You'll actually see the whole entire function as it unravels. But so far, I think I got like $700 in donations. So we'll see how far it goes and how I can like stretch that money. But your girl, I'll make do or whatever. Okay. So that is that regarding the toy drive. What else? We're still waiting for the guest to come. He's stuck in traffic, so I'm trying to like kill time. Okay. VGIRLTV.com, guys, is live. You guys can go to VGIRLTV.com and sign up for the mailing list. YouTube is not sending out when I go live. I don't really know what's going on. So I like to send it out personally to each and every one of you. So if you can, just go to VGIRLTV.com and sign up for the mailing list. Um, it says any gift idea for 14-year-olds and older. So I'm gonna just give you an idea of the things that I have been buying for 14-year-olds. I've been getting board games. I've been getting soccer balls, basketballs. For the girls, there are some of the girls that play instruments. So I am trying to get her a new instrument because she's using like a plastic. She plays the air piano, and I've been researching. I don't even know if I should be saying this because I don't even know if her mom watches this. Okay, I'm not even gonna. I don't want to give out too much information about this particular kid, but yeah. So definitely like board games. If for the boys, board games, you can get soccer balls, footballs, basketballs, things like that. For 14-year-olds. I had to kind of like ask Amir what to get because Amir's like 12, so he knows more or less what kids 13 and 14 years old want. So okay. And what else? Do we have any other announcements? Other than joining our mailing list. Okay, let me check on our guest to see where he is. Oh, he just texted me. Um He should be logging in now, guys. I apologize for the lateness. Oculus versus headsets. Yeah, Amir loves those things. The only thing is with the Oculus, I feel like the Oculus, it's really toxic once you get into the whole virtual scheme of things. Okay, he's here. The Oculus is super toxic, guys. Amir has an Oculus, and once you get into like the virtual world, it's really toxic. All right. He said he's here, but I think he's actually in the chat, guys. Hold on, let me get him. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's the only thing about the Oculus. It's super toxic. I'm not trying to invite any toxicity into these kids' lives. I want to nurture them into positivity. I'm gonna put the flyer up one more time for you guys to see. Drop off locations is in Los Pueblos. Okay, so the topic of today, I actually have a guest coming on. He should be here shortly. Like he's here, but he's trying to log in, guys. Let me see if I can put up the flyer. All right, so while he's logging in, today's guest I feel like he plays a very, very important part in Panamanian culture. He is from Colon City. I'll give you a background on how I met him when he comes onto the screen, but he is an Afro Panamanian. He was born and raised in Colon. He came from he has an amazing story, guys. And every time I try to get guests on here, I want to make sure that they are here to inspire. So I'm gonna introduce him. He is an attorney. His name is Vernal Farnum. And let's bring him into the channel, guys. Show him some love.
Hello. I hope everybody hear me properly. And first of all, allow me to apologize for the delay. I run into certain traffic issues. I hate to be late, but things
It's
happen once in
okay.
a while. So how you doing today, Shannon?
I am okay. Okay, so
I,
let
I
me
think
give the
I, I think
people.
I, I think I should introduce you.
Why you have to introduce me?
I know
Oh
you for
my
more
God,
than I
guys.
know you for more than 30 years. So it's like I feel like I should be me saying hi to
No.
everybody. This is an amazing young lady. I got the pleasure to know her parents. Her mother is my godmother.
Yeah.
Um, her father is the godfather I didn't have. And it's a wonderful family, and I love them to death. Actually, let me put a little bit of background information. When I came to the United States for the first time, Shayna was, I think she's like 2 or 3 years younger than me, maybe a little bit less, more. And there was a show called Moesha. She was a big fan of it. So really, on my limited English, it still is very limited, I start calling her Moesha. And it was a funny thing to see her grow, develop into the wonderful young woman she is right now. And I guess that we should be doing this show about you for because you are a really inspiring young girl, and I appreciate you put the time to interview me, and I hope this conversation can be of substance for anybody that is listening. I really hope that we can actually provide that inspiration, fill that vacuum that sometimes exists within our societies in which we do not have enough good examples to follow through. Well, I hope to be to be one of those, even when my wife will say no. So I hope to be one of those examples. So how you doing today, Connor?
I'm good. Okay, guys. So look, he already told. I was gonna give you the story, but he gave me the background. The background. He's actually my god brother. Okay. Look at my mother in the comment section. Look at her. She said, "I'm so proud of you and Shayna. Love you, Bernal."
I love you too. Love you to the moon and back. Actually, now that she's on the line, let me tell you something. Let me tell you a funny story. Every time we open a new office, this lady she sent me a plant. It's a lucky plant, and I do believe that part of the success that we have it is because of her. Are you guys hearing me properly? Is a good connection?
It's me. I don't know what is going on.
I think I have some glitches and I hear you in the background. Better now?
Can you hear me, guys? Now.
Let me see. Do you think it might be my headphones? Maybe I
You
can.
sound really good to me. Everyone else is saying it's me.
It's you. Oh, it's the first time I hear a girl say it's me. Usually I hear the other time I hear the other way around. It is us. Oh, I got a comment section right here. Oh, look at this. Got a lot of people here. Hello. I got Morris Campbell. Maybe I know him, Mr. Farnum. Oh, I don't know. Hi. Wow. I can't hear you. See here. It's a static, right? So basically, while she's connecting herself, I guess I like to speak a little bit too much. I'm gonna talk to be. I'm gonna. If people like, are you guys hearing me properly? Everybody's hearing me. Shana, your mic seems to be off for some reason. Okay, Amazing is hearing me. She says he can hear me. It seems like Ashana has an issue. So I'm gonna put a little bit of background information of myself so everybody know who I am and what I do. Um, um, I am from Colon, Panama. I was born in Colon, Panama. I came to the United States 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I came to the United States, and when I came to the country, I didn't speak English. Some people say that I still don't know how to speak English, especially the people that work with me. Say that I don't speak English still. But I think I do. I do much better than what I used to do before, right, Shayna?
Yes. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, you sound perfectly. Now you're safely.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. But this is my interview, so don't try to take over my interview. I know you're an
Okay.
attorney, so
I,
you might
I,
try to take over. This is
I
not
try
about,
to.
this is,
It's about. I try to take your thunder.
okay. So let's start by growing up in Panama. Okay.
Yeah.
You are from Colon, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people have a stigmatism about Colon. They don't really have good things to say about Colon. What was your experience when you were growing up in Panama?
Look, it is a story that you got to immerse yourself in what is the story of Cologne and the part of the role that Cologne plays in what is the formation of the national identity. Cologne is as every ghetto neighborhood, what you can call it, if I say it properly, like Chorrillo, Curundú, it has its issues. It got people that has been disenfranchised for years, for generations. Actually, one of the worst decisions in Cologne was the prohibition, no, the prohibition to evict tenants that were not compliant with their obligation as a tenant, and that allows that those buildings became became deteriorated. Cologne used to be called La Tacita de Oro, that's the golden teacup, and it was because people were so neat. Cologne used to be like the epicenter of a lot of the cultural activities that got in Panama, but that disenfranchisement, that trade that we did into having a free place to live in comparison to a good place to live, actually, was one of the things that started people stealing from people's identities and their dignities in order or the desire to look for something better. And it is as any neighborhood that has been disenfranchised for generations, people lost hope. And the only thing that father, a mother in those kind of situations can transfer to their children, it is that hopeless in the future. And when people didn't grow with a hope about the future, ended up a circumstance ended up deteriorating. And after that, after that, it came a vacuum into examples. People actually that were doing fairly better and start to leave the city because the city of Cologne is just 16th Street. It's a neighborhood like maybe say Chorrillo, Prudú, Rio Abajo, and you got the same issues, but it's not Alcolon and it's not Alcolonense. Mostly, in an overwhelming amount of capacity, people from Cologne, they have this dignity, this driving desire, this flavor in regard to their life that it is no way matching the whole country. The only thing it is the lack of opportunity and the hopeless that these people have been growing. Now, when I was growing up in the 80s, early 90s, um, at least we got examples. We got more professional people living into the city, provided that good example. People that actually can light the way for us to see, when I grow up, I want to be a lawyer. I want to work in the commission. I want to be a doctor. Those examples were disappearing. And those vacuums in the neighborhood started filling with bad examples, with rotten apples. And sadly, it has become now the norm in a city that used to be a flourishing city, a city full of joy, full of happiness. It became a city full of sadness and people that doesn't believe in the possibility of a better future. So sadly, it is what it is.
When you were growing up, what were the things or who were the people that you looked up to? Did you always know that you wanted to be a lawyer, or did you have another career path in mind?
No, no, I wanted to be a lawyer. I want to tell you, I wanted to be a lawyer for the most silliest of the reason. And when I was a kid, I always liked people that were dressed with suit and jacket. Um, I want to wear one. The only one I wear that in Colombia were lawyers. So I wanted to be a lawyer for that reason. But it is a call that I have found extremely rewarding because it what made the impact that we can have in our profession toward other people. I practice a branch of law that it is so emotionally rewarding. It can be also very painful, but it's also so emotional and rewarding. So even the beginning of this career ended up with silly reason. It started with silly reason. It has been a great journey so far. I didn't regret a day since I have been a lawyer. It's wonderful.
So, at what age did you move to the States?
Oh, I think I was old, and maybe I'm gonna say something that your father told me just right before I joined the army. If he hear it, he might remember what he told me. But I came to the United States. I think I came to the United States to live in on September 3rd, 2003, and I came and I believe like every immigrant. I came for a year and then to come back to my country and return my legal career. But the United States have a way to involve you, to trap you, to make you desire to stay. I do believe that as a human beings, we all like the sense of order and the sense of predictability. In the United States, usually if you do A and B, the next thing gonna be C. Sadly, some of our countries, in Panama, sometimes you do one plus one and you ended up being four. But in the United States, usually you got a little bit better sense of predictability, in which you want to get out of life usually what you put into it. So it's been 19 years so far at this point.
I don't know what's wrong with my microphone today. Am I staticky?
I'm gonna tell you what happened with your microphone.
What?
I know exactly what it is.
What is it? Tell me.
Two hot people from Cologne are being by the network. That's the problem. It can't take both of us at the same time.
I got it. I don't know what is happening.
I tell you, I I tell you, it is that. The interview is too hard to handle.
Hold on. Let me pull it out. Right. Am I still staticky again?
You sound way better now.
Okay. So when you came to the States, you obviously came on a visa, right? And okay, go ahead. Tell me.
No, yeah. At the beginning, when I came to the States, I came with a tourist visa. That's when I met you. And then when I came to stay, I came as a permanent resident. Like all immigrant, there was a time in which my name was Eduardo, and I used to work in a McDonald's in downtown Brooklyn.
Every Panamanian worked at that McDonald's. Oh
yeah,
my God.
I did work here. Actually, I believe my obesity problems started. I used to fry 8 nuggets, I get 4. That's when I started to become fat.
Every Panamanian that comes to New York always worked at that McDonald's downtown Brooklyn.
You know, actually, when I started working there, the manager, that he was a friend of my sister, and I think my sister is there. She was complaining to me that I was late. He was saying that Panamanian people, they came straight from the JFK to that McDonald's to work. They get out of the plane and they go straight there. So actually, that was my first formal job in my life in that McDonald's.
So you came to McDonald's. You joined. You joined the army, right?
Yeah, I ended up joining the army, and your father told me that I was an idiot, and I believe he was right, but I didn't.
But what made you decide to join the army to try to get legal faster?
Well, it was a very selfish and personal reason. I believe that I did it, but even when it was a very selfish and personal reason, I think I did it for the best reason of all. I did it for love. You know, my ex-wife cannot come to the country with my daughter, and I was so desperate to be in my daughter's life in a more permanent fashion that if I was a way to get a full legal status and claim her back to the States was for me to join the army. But I should have listened to your father. I think I know because the institution on itself was bad. It is a great institution, and I learned a lot of things. But at the age in which I did it, I mean, the condition in which I did it, it wasn't a good fit for me. So I should not have done it. I should have done something else. Or as your father say, if she loved you, she will wait for you. That's the word for you. That's the word for you, old man. I still remember.
He's gonna watch this and he's
gonna watch this. Yeah, he told me. You know what? He stopped me in my process. He said, "Are you stupid?"
He always advises people not to go to the army. My father has a disdain for the army, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it was funny the way he said it. You know what they're gonna say, you right? Yeah, I know what they're gonna say. But you know, thanks God, I was able to come back. At least physically saying, I never been mentally the same. I always been a dreamer, so I don't want to claim that part. But at least I came back in one piece.
Amen. So now you're in the States. You joined the army. When did you decide? Okay, now I'm gonna go practice law.
It never went out of my mind to don't practice law. It always was in the back of my mind. I understood that it was just a detour towards the objective, you know. It never crossed my mind not to do so. You know, there's certain moments in life in which every man that we feel unworthy, we feel incapable to do things. Yes, but it always was in the presence of my mind that that's the path that I'm going to follow, the path that I was destined to pursue. So it was never something in my mind about me not returning to my legal career. So it always was a permanent dream. I was just waiting.
So you decided that you were going to practice law, but you could have been any type of lawyer. What made you decide to be an immigration lawyer?
Wow. Let me see. I've been dealing with immigration since I was a kid. Now that, you know, I remember when I started to practice immigration law, I did a little stint in personal injuries in New York City, a city that I actually love. I love New York City. It's a great city. But it wasn't really a right fit. When I came to start practicing immigration, I just started seeing all the dynamics that my family went through
Mm-hmm.
since the 80s. I remember my sister, freshly my own man, that God bless his soul, in regard to the waiting list, the priority dates. Like he got any kind of control over that situation when the poor man didn't have nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
He did his part. So then I saw all this thing on as a practice, and then I do believe that the guiding north in my practice during all this thing, I see that every time somebody come to my office, I
Mm-hmm.
see a family member in them. I can identify myself with them.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember when I actually was in the other side of the desk looking for answers. So I
Mm-hmm.
do believe that's the best reason in which I tell everybody I can do this job for free. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
This is my best therapy, the best thing I ever have it because it allows me to be a positive part in somebody's journey. I can actually sit down and say somebody came to my office without hope, and I can see a path towards
Mm-hmm.
that legalization, and it is just fill my heart when I can actually can provide for that person that kind of relief. It is an amazing feeling. There's nothing, nothing that can replace the light of a humble person's eyes when
Mm-hmm.
they believe that they are be able to achieve that dream. When you got somebody that got 20 years without returning home, somebody that his parents died and they were unable to go to the funeral,
Mm-hmm.
that they have a mother in a hospital bed and they cannot go to see it. And for me, being able to provide that relief, it is a dream. It is not just allowing me to have a decent life, but it's also allowing me to be a positive part, to contribute, to give back. And it's a wonderful fit.
We have a question from someone in the audience. They said, Mr. Farnum, did you study law in Panama or in the USA?
I am a sucker for punishment, so I studied both sides. I studied my first law degree was in Panama. I graduated in 2002, and then I did a master degree in University of Texas at Houston. So anybody who the horns, and then I also did another master in Brooklyn Law School in New York City. So it took me both sides to do it.
Now, I don't know if you can answer this question, but not majority, but a lot of people who are entering the US, they're from places, I mean, now, they're places from like Venezuela, you have people from Colombia, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico. Every now and then you may have people from Panama that's in there, but most of those people, when they look at you, do they think that you're Hispanic?
No, they don't. They, the, I see people. Well, now today, everybody knows. At least I am. We are a little bit. Thanks God, we are a little bit more a bigger part of the mental fabric of the immigrant here in Texas. At least in the cities that we actually operate mostly, they know already who they're looking for, and but I joke around about this thing a lot. I joke around that when they hear me in the radio, they thought I was blonde with blue eyes or whatever like this, or they come to my front of my office and then ask the receptionist if I can speak Spanish. So then I start speaking broken Spanish, and I say, we're gonna get to help each other, but no, people usually do not think I am a Spanish speaker. It was even funnier that I was in a situation once in which I was working in a mall. It was a predominantly Hispanic mall, and we used to get an office in the second floor. And this lady was telling her son in Spanish that the cucuy was coming for him, and she was pointing me.
What?
And then I was like, "What I am the cucuy?" And she was like, "Oh, she doesn't even know what to say." But that's how she started asking like, why are the cucuy? But people usually don't imagine. So it is a very good surprise. Oh,
Do you,
my sister just got into it.
yes, I see Yolanda.
Now she
Now,
gonna now she gonna start telling me what to say. Just just wait for it.
now, becoming attorney, there aren't many attorneys, people of color, especially Panamanian people of color, practicing law in the United States of America, right? I'm not saying that there's none, but there's not many.
It is funny. We can do a Black Panamanian Immigration Law Association in Dallas. It will be at least 3 people. I got a friend. His name is Roberto Armstrong. He was from Panama City. He's a Black Panamanian man, and he's also an immigration attorney in Dallas. And one of the judges in the immigration court, Miss Yomara David Gums, also Panamanian, is also a Black person. I don't know if she's from the city or from Colombo. She's an immigration attorney. Well, she's one of the judges of the bench in the immigration court in Dallas.
Amazing. But again, there's still not that much compared to your counterparts, right?
No, there are definitely more Mexicans than Venezuelans. You know, Panamanian people immigrated to the United States. The big waves of Panamanian coming to the United States, long gone. I think the last big wave of Panamanian coming to the country was from around the 80s. You know, Panamanian people and because of our background as West Indian people, that we can say it, we actually have we usually have a more bounds with our brothers and sisters from Jamaica, Trinidad and
Yes.
Tobago, Barbados. I remember that my grandmother, God bless her soul, it was very difficult for her to speak Spanish, and it was part of the fabric of our country and our immigrant story coming from all the way from Africa to stay in the West Indies and then coming back to Panama to build the canal and everything else. That's why you find people with the Spanish first name and English name, like
Mm-hmm.
like Ricardo King, my brother, or Octavio James. Those are
Yes.
Spanish names mixed up. It's because usually that situation. Somebody's asking me a question, and I'm gonna take the liberty to answer. If a
Let me
person
put it on the
crosses,
screen. Hold on, let me put it on the screen. And Alexis, thank you for the super chat. If a person crossed illegally and but voluntarily returned back to Panama, can they ever cross again legally?
that's a question that will depend on 1,000 different variants. But once it enter unlawfully to the United States in itself is usually not an immigration violation. It can become a criminal violation. Back in the days, the district attorneys in those regions opted not to prosecute those cases, and they will just send back. And that person, depending on where kind of state, it will not even trigger a bar. So let's say I enter the United States unlawfully, and nobody noticed me, and I have been in the country for just 5 months, and then I decide to return back. I will not have a bar to immigrate back to the United States. The bar will trigger if I ended up staying at least 6 months. It will be a bar for 3 years, and if I stay more than a year, the bar will be for 10 years. But the crossing itself unlawfully, if even if I didn't got a criminal charge against me, it will not be a big of a problem. Now, something happened that didn't happen back in the days, um, 2009, 2010. President Obama started pursuing immigration reform, and he started to remove people from the United States to boost those numbers on deportations. The deportations were fake deportations because they were not deporting people that were living inside the United States. They were crossing the border. And now you see a phenomenon that sadly, since that moment forward, has been making people legal situation worse because Obama continued those deportations, President Trump continued that practice, and also President Biden has continued the practice of deporting people in the border in contrast to what used to happen before when people just got a voluntary departure order that in itself has no punishment or no bar. You don't mind if I release a little bit this time, right?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Amazing Oski says, Mr. Bernal, have you ever handled any undocumented cases from Panama who crossed the border illegally? And for those of you who are asking, who is that in the comment section? That's my son. That's Amir saying that you can support my channel. So don't worry, someone's scamming. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's the thing. I got a case of a guy that was pursuing asylum, and actually I was representing him in front of Judge Gomes during those days, and he was married, and his case is still pending in immigration court. But those are very few cases. Panamanian people usually do not emigrate to the United States into that fashion. They usually come by plane.
Why do you think that? Why don't you think that Panamanian people aren't migrating to the States as much as before anymore? Do you think it has a lot to do with the infrastructure in Panama and that or do you feel like there's more opportunities than they were before in Panama? Why do you feel like people aren't really migrating to the States anymore?
You know, the situation in Panama is not as bad as the situation in the North Triangle of Central America, Honduras, Guatemala, Salvador. Costa Rican people also does not emigrate that much to the United States. Nicaraguan people, they are starting to do it right now. But violence and security concerns has pushed people in those countries in Central America. They have been forced to emigrate out of their country. It's not just about I want to emigrate to the United States because I got family there or whatever. It is a situation in which they have almost been forced to leave their communities to come to the United States in regard to their safety because you got gang members that forcibly are trying to recruit their children. They try to be they've been blackmailed by gang members. They try to rape the little girls. So all this situation in Central America has pushed those people to come to the United States almost by force. But we also got to remember that this is a situation that started actually in the gangs infested cities of the West in LA. That when they deported those people to Central America, they were creating chapters of those gangs that were in LA. And sadly, those governments in Central America didn't got the resources to actually to be able to deal and face those threats. And they have been in some other way creating a power and authority even above the government in a lot of circumstances.
Wow, I never knew that. I am said, Mr. Farnum, why do Panamanians need to apply for a visa to go to the U.S., but the U.S. citizens don't need a visa to visit Panama?
That's a very political question. Look, it's a political question in all those sense. Panamanian people can start asking U.S. citizens to get a visa too. But the thing is that we need the tourists. We would like to get more tourists to even when Panama is not a country that is so investing in tourism, we would like to get some more tourists in Panama to bring the resources from out of our country to allow people to make a life in a different sector of the economy. The United States requests a visa from everybody but certain people because a lot of people come to the United States with visa and they ended up staying in the United States. If you see people coming to actually, if you see it in the last 10, 12 years, maybe a little bit longer, the biggest influx of immigrants have not come from the border. Well, in the last 5 years, the situation has been back to change. People have been coming to the border, has been coming on with visa, and they are just staying in the country after they were granted that visa to come to the United States. So anybody can impose the United States the requirement. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe somebody know and can correct me. There was a time in which Argentinian people they can came to the United States without visa, same as people from Chile. Chilean people they still can come to the United States without visa. Argentina no, because when the economy fall over there, they came to the United States basis. So what Brazil did, because they were asking American people, Argentinian people to come to the United States with visa, Brazilian people say, okay, if you want to come to Brazil, you're going to need a visa too. So Panama can do it too, but I don't think that would be the most smart of the decisions, but they can do it. I I don't know how that's going to play. I don't think it's going to be an improvement of anybody's life if we start to request a visa. Let the gringos come. We need their money.
So now you did say that you practiced law in Panama as well. Well, you graduated with a law degree in Panama. Did you practice immigration law in Panama too, or did you practice a different type of law?
No. My practice of law in Panama was very testimonial. It was a very short practice. I practiced law in Panama for very little bit. I was extremely disappointed when I saw the wedding with the the practice was conducted in court by cases that they should not be presented in the court, especially when we got such a backlog of cases that didn't get an answer. I don't say the United States criminal legal system is perfect. It's far from you. It's very bad. But the Panamanian one is sadly an abomination. At the end of the day, everything that has to do with offer and demand brings certain kinds of unfairness, a little bit of a level of unfairness. But in Panama, when I was in Panama, you got somebody in jail for 3 to 4 years, and then they acquit you, and then give you a pat in the back and say, "Go home," until somebody try to create a case back on you, against you. Like I personally saw police officers creating cases against guys that have been out of the jail, that have been trying to 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 recover their life, and I see them creating those cases out of nothing, just for whatever reason in particular they want to do it. I, I assume it here in the state the same thing happened, but that was a little bit of a disappointment when I was practicing in Panama.
Last week, I had an interview with Louis Marshall. I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch that video, but he was the superintendent of Sing Sing Correctional Facility in New York City. And he also has come to Panama. He came to Panama before and was doing work in Panama to try to help make certain, not changes, but to give, I'm trying to word myself properly because people always find something wrong with the things that I say sometimes. So I'm trying to thread lightly. But he had tried to offer advice on how to correct some of the situations that was occurring in Panama. And one of the subscribers had asked him if he think that there was any hope, or if that the Panamanian government, or the system, was interested in making those changes, and he said no. So, being that you know this type of information, do you feel like there's any type of hope for the better Panama? Do you feel like they eventually would change? Because people really just think this is just embedded in the culture, and I feel like nothing is really impossible.
Yeah, I do. I do. I have the same belief that things look. Nothing is impossible in life, but we got to understand where Panamanian people came from. Panama is a very conservative society,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very judgmental society as well. Um, the Panamanian people got their ways in which they don't believe in second opportunities. In Panama, you gotta prove yourself to be innocent because everybody wanna think about you and guilty. And you must remember something as the most important thing. The people that are languishing in jail are the son of the cook, are the children of the person that was washing floors. It's not the elite people here, they just don't care. That's
Mm-hmm.
it's part of the fabric, and I don't wanna see they have no interest in the rehabilitation of those people. And the worst thing is, with the system that we have, a lot of those people are not even guilty of the crimes that they've been punished. I can tell you by personal experience in the way in which prosecutors pursue their job in Panama. In a lot of sense, they just want, they even know that they cannot get a conviction and they can still pursue those cases just to affect in a negative way people's life, just because they believe they are guilty out of anything or envy or whatever it is. But the funny thing is that every high profile case in Panama, it is gets thrown out by a deficiency in the process. But they don't have an accountability process, because if you want to fix the system, you gotta make DAs accountable on losing cases, to keeping people in jail without a right reason to be in jail, and they are not accountable to nothing. They don't care. So it is a desensibilization process in which they will not be interested in invest neither financial resource or political capital in do one of the most important things that are elected or appointed officials to pursue, that is to do the right thing. They will not do
That is very disappointing. Amazing Oxley says, Mr. Vernal, why do you think the immigration process needs to improve the process? And why do people need to hire a lawyer for all immigration processes in Panama?
it. I tell you something. If you got somebody, if you get a rifle and you go to a big yard, and you close your eyes and you start shooting, you're gonna hit 2 or 3 squares. I can guarantee you that. But the pain that I have seen created by people that don't know what they're doing in immigration,
Mhm.
oof, you will have no
Mhm.
idea. At the end of the day, it is not the worth, the financial worth of a legal status. It is the value of that status. How do you value it? How much is value for you? I got cases, and I see it in my family, persons that just with a visit to a lawyer, it would have saved them for years of pain. Even to pay a consultation that can be between $50, $100 or free in a lot of cases, in which you can see a very incompetent lawyer. He will tell you basic things that people still do, basic mistakes that people still do. Because you know what? You can sit down and you can fill out your application yourself. You can submit it. But fixing something is usually worse than doing it good for the beginning.
Mhm.
There are certain things that you cannot fix on immigration. You cannot put it back the way they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And that's the way things are.
Now, you've been interviewed here in Panama before,
Yeah,
and
a few times.
a few times,
Yeah.
and they asked you for some of your opinions
Mhm.
on due process here in Panama, and you gave your opinions on due process here in Panama. Do you think they were receptive?
That they what?
Were they receptive of some of the things that you were saying?
I look. I love my colleagues, and I don't know, maybe one or two of them. I listen to this interview. The actual state of Panamanians' hopes and dreams across the border, not only on the law, it is a lack of belief that things can improve for better or they can be changed.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, that is the process. Panamanian people believe that they are owned by the government, and
Mm-hmm.
they believe that the government is not part of the society. They don't identify the government as equal to them. They think the government and those elected officials they came from Mars because they are just like everybody else in Panama, and that hopelessly carried out by corruption has been has been destroying the soul of change because people do not believe in changes in Panama. They do not believe the change are possible. They believe that they're going to have to wait until somebody gives them some crumbs. And sadly, it is the way it is. Um, it is very difficult to actually have a conversation in regard to what things should be, in regard to, hey, can we make some changes? Can we improve the situation? These things are not just here. Uh, they just don't have the, at least at this particular point, they have not been inspired to believe in the possibility of change. And they do not.
Sandra Haynes says, I have a cousin who overstayed his visa in New York City by over 10 years to make money here for his children to go to Panama and buy them a house there. He is ready to back. He fears he hold on. He fears Panama's law more than US.
Well, let me tell you two things. From a legal standpoint, just a legal standpoint, once he returns to Panama, he's going to be barred to returning to the United States for 10 years. He will not be able to come back. Not because he's been 10 years in the country, it's because he has been overstayed for more than 1 year. So he will not be able to come back in at least 10 years. Um, he fears Panamanian law. Yes, as a dreamer, I opened a business in Panama a couple of years back, and I was a little bit disappointed. But my experience doesn't have to be his experience. Anybody that want to go back home, and I feel I will be sooner or later one of them, should be able to put her effort into make things go better. And that's what he wants to do, and he's ready to go. May the Lord bless his path and his journey, and I can assure him that he's going to be disappointed once, two, three times. But he can persevere. He should persevere into follow that dream. And that seed will bring fruitful sooner or later.
Now, you say you want to come back to Panama. Do you think that you'll be able to bring something back? Because I
I'm,
feel like a lot of people, when they leave Panama and they go back to the States, they don't do anything, they don't bring anything back.
I don't think that's right. Let's talk about your parents, by example. I love to talk about your parents. They have bring, they have bring the most important thing. Somebody that came from outside to Panama, they have bring their stories, their example, the way in which they do things, the hard effort to take to do things. That's something in a lot of cases we miss it. You do not have to change the world. You don't have to change the
Mhm,
whole culture. It is good enough to help one person. That
mhm,
person will help another one, and it will be a chain reaction.
mhm.
So you don't need to change everybody. You don't need to be the president of the country. You don't need to change one person at a time, and that should be good enough. If everybody commit to change the life of one person for the good, imagine the kind of world that we can have.
And what do you think you would be? What do you think you would bring back?
What I think I will be back, I going back to take some sun.
But what are you gonna bring back to
uh,
Panama? What are you?
if
What
I
are your plans?
no, if I ever made that trip back home, actually I was closer to do that trip back home 4 years than what I am now. If I ever make that, I have the dream to be a part of a change process. I got a few ideas in regard to a few foundations that I believe that if they are applied properly, it can create a lot of change in Colombia. I got a dream to create this association of ex abelistas. That would be the best way to say it. And when I am used to people calling me crazy, so they still calling me crazy. But I do believe that we're gonna make some positive changes. But I do not think that I need to wait until I go to Panama to make that investment on
Mhm,
time and capital. I do
mhm.
believe that you're gonna be hearing about that very soon. I just
Okay.
needing to put together a few pieces and try to make a positive impact in those students that graduated from that school in Cologne. Are in a lot of cases they felt that we have left them behind because for people of our age, for people of the age of your parents, I do believe that we are too fast in criticize the current generation and we're telling them,
Mhm,
oh, you guys are bad, you guys are worse than us, you don't respect. But in a lot of senses, we are not seeing the person in the mirror and blame themselves for what is currently happening because in a lot of sense we have abandoned them. We have just left and we have left them behind. Those neighborhoods in which we used to have certain examples are polluted right now by people that are providing the wrong kind of leadership. The stories of success of people that work hard and do the right thing and grow up into that path, they have been long gone. So
mhm,
it's like in that book, The Lord of the Flies. We got children creating a society upon themselves without no proper guidance. So how much of that is our fault? It's our lack of
mhm,
participation. How much that
mhm,
lack of participation actually got an impact, a negative impact in those neighborhoods. But
mhm.
we come back and sometimes we sit down in this high here in which we look down and we say, "Oh, you guys are really bad," but we didn't do. We lack to acknowledge or or contribution to the current state of things. We
Mhm.
just criticize it. So I hope that I will be better. That sooner than later, I can actually improve my
Mhm.
participation in Panama for the good.
So Sandra Haynes says, does her cousin end up in jail in Panama if he returns?
What you say?
This is the same person that had
I
asked about the cousin that he
why he will
overstayed.
be unless he got any kind of criminal case in Panama. I don't think that there's any reason for him to be in jail. Why he gonna be in jail? Because he overstayed in the United States for 10 years now. That's not a criminal offense.
Amazing Oski says, I agree with you, Mr. Bernal. I agree with Mr. Bernal's comment. bring back Panama new ideas and pay it forward attitude. Alexis S. said, you want to make a comment towards Amazing Ospie?
What he say? Colon will be gentrified.
Well, so this is Amazing Ospie's comment. He says that he agrees with you to bring people bring back to Panama new ideas and pay it forward attitude. So basically, you come back, you bring new ideas to Panama, and just be positive and move forward. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't worry about the government.
Just an example. Bring just back an example. Just bringing back an example so kids can identify to you and follow. That sometimes is you don't have an idea of how little things are required to change a person's life. It is actually I make a party here in my house to celebrate my wife's birthday 2 weeks ago. And when I joined the military, I got orders to go to Germany that for some personal reason I do not want to pursue. And I met this girl from Panama, Fifth Street, Bolivar, and she introduced me to her husband. And this guy, without asking in nothing in return, he took me around all for Hood for me to do the most unlikely thing, fight to not to go to Germany. And that single act, those 45 minutes, what an hour that he took to help a complete stranger, can possibly be the reason that I am sitting down here with you talking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to do much.
Mm-hmm.
People don't need to do much. You don't need to create Apple in Cologne to make a change. You can change one person. It just takes one person.
Alexis S. said, sir, you better. Cologne will be gentrified. You see what happened when California moved to Texas? You don't build in Cologne now, you will not be able to later. Oh, if you don't build in Cologne now, you will not be able to do it later.
I hope so. It might sound strange that I say I hope so, because Cologne City is a very beautiful city. And I do think that Cologne City on itself has a lot more value that what people are giving, because that vacuum in leadership to create something more enjoyable for people. And if anybody has taken a little bit of a trip, you go to a lot of places that got way less to offer than Cologne. And people are going there in masses, spending money, it's kickstarting economies. And in Cologne, you don't get to see that. Why? Because you got a bunch of abandoned buildings that are not taken care of because you cannot evict somebody. Actually, just graduated from law school. I remember I was in a council with the representantes of corregimientos. I don't know what you would call it. Maybe I guess you would call it some city council. And this guy owns the building. He paid for the building. It was his property. And he wants to put his money into improving the building. He wants to restore the building and make the building good and create some opportunities in the building. And the council people was expecting him to pay them a bribe to he can actually take and exercise his right as an owner of the building. So this is the kind of things that happen that you ask yourself, wow. But maybe if we took back those buildings and we give them back to their true owners, and they can start putting money into those buildings, then make those buildings look better. Maybe we can have 10 cruises a day in Cologne, bringing real opportunities and change for people. You've been in Roatan Island, and it's not that great, but they having 10 ships a day in there. How many we got in Cologne? Zero. So the thing is that once you squeeze an orange, you need to squeeze it fully. And sadly, our personality, it is just big enterprise in Panama. We are not doing things that we're supposed to be doing. That is the truth. There's a lot of opportunity that we are just leaving behind, expecting certain things that might not come through. When we got those elected officials that are prioritizing their right, their personal gain over what is right, over what can change the future of our city, how can we advance? How can we advance with them? Because we got to fight against them to make things happen. Sadly, this is my assessment of the financial situation in 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 that regard. We are getting people. We are we are we are getting people used to live in an economy of handouts, in which
Mm-hmm.
I am as a politician, I give you whatever, saying I go and buy a pound of rice or whatever. And people are just staying that way because we have a system that is not built for individual creativity and entrepreneurship. It is a society created to create workers. And it's going to be workers that are going to satisfy the needs of four, five, six families in Panama that control most of the country. And they
Mm-hmm.
educating us just to be workers. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want us to be more than workers. And then once we try to go and do the right thing, and then we got to pay a bribe that we cannot. When we want to invest in a building, or in a business, and we know that we got a labor law that is created for big company and not for the small ones, or not for the young entrepreneurship business people. How can people can create those changes? There's a lot of roadblocks for them that affect their possibility to create real change.
Sandra Hayes said, "What is going on with all the people in Colombia who don't pay rent? Owners can't fix if rent is not enforced."
Exactly. It's like gravity. Everything it's just like that. Torrijos actually forbid evictions in Colón, and since that moment on, the owners abandoned their buildings. So the building just became deteriorated by the day. People actually made the trade. I want to live free in on human conditions, but I'm going to live free. There was a neighborhood within Colón called La Playita, still is there, and you can see people living in a sink houses, working the Panama Commission with great jobs and with all the technological advance inside their house, but everything outside was made out of zinc. People made that stupid trade. But that happened when people lack leadership. When the leadership that should be coming from some people, some part of society, are more bound to take from them than to give them no money but opportunities. And that thing get immersed in the fabric of the society itself. To clean up that mess, if you ask me, you gotta just work with kids and young people because everything else is just damage. It's damaged goods. It is the way they think that they've been brought upon that it's very hard to change.
You're actually the second person who told me that. There's a guy that I know named Delano Dubison who's running for Representante de Barrio Norte, and he said the same exact thing that you are saying. He does a lot of work with children because he says they're the ones that's going to be the future. Unfortunately, the older generation, they're lost. They're not going to change their mind. They can't do anything. So if you work with the younger kids growing up, they will possibly be able to make that change that we want because unfortunately, the older generation before us, they're not willing to do that.
Let me say something. Sandra is making a comment in regard to lack of rent enforcement. It's a crime against black people. It is mostly corruption. I don't think it's about black people or whatever. Obviously, Cologne is predominantly black, but I know personally a bunch of Chinese people that have became large landowners in Cologne, and
But
they got a
how?
bunch of
How is
deals.
that? How is that possible that
I just told you they paid the bribe.
okay.
They got the money to pay for the bribe, but how that put people like myself that maybe I want to go to Panama and I open a business, I'll create something different. But just forget about me, forget about us that we live in outside and say, let's talk about this guy that he's a school teacher and he wanna create something more for his family. He got more ideas. He got that restlessness on him to create something different. How he will do it in a system that it is created to keep you as a worker. And I don't say it's impossible because it is not, but it's highly difficult. You have a labor law that doesn't create job but destroy it. You got people, and I'm gonna give you an example, and it is sad to say it, but I got to share it with you. I have a call center for my offices in Playa del Carmen. That's 45 minutes from Cancun. I opened the same call center first in Colon against everybody advice.
Mhm.
After 2 years, I was so disappointed with the process that I closed it and I took it here. And those guys with 2 months working were making a more efficient job and coming up with better ideas than the people that got 2 years working in Panama. And that doesn't mean they are better, but they were more appreciative of the opportunities.
Mhm.
While the guys in Panama, since first day, they didn't know how to answer the phone or use the system in which we work, and they were about going to the labor department to try to figure it out things and put complaints with 1 2 days of employment. It is just crazy.
Mhm.
It is a system that does not allow people with more modest means to create opportunities for themselves.
Mhm.
It is what it is, and that's why you see the lack of middle class or business middle class in Panama. That's why you see people like 99 Day actually stores. They took away every kind of branch of commerce. No more, no more. What you call it? Bread panaderias. I don't know. Say,
Mhm.
no more
Brent
pharmacies.
bakeries.
No more bakeries. No more pharmacies. They took everything. No more meat houses. They took over everything. And basically, what that does is it kills every, every single system of self-reliability and self-creation of wealth for a person. That
Mhm.
happened in Panama, sadly, and we haven't been able to return back to fix it.
Dara Gold says Cologne needs individual investment, but also needs big project investment financing. I nominate Ursula Burns to create projects and complete them. Ursula, Panamanian parents, grew up in Brooklyn, became the CEO of Rexux. I have no idea who that is. Daryl, if you want to go into more details, because I don't know who Ursula is, unfortunately.
I think I know. I think I share about it, but the answer to our problems it cannot come from outside. It has to
Mhm.
come from within. Panamanian people, I believe that we can do a more guiding work, more inspiring work, that fixing problems on itself doesn't matter how good we are. Because if you put a person like Ursula, that being, you put me, that I've been just 19 years in Panama, I was born, raised, and educated in Panama, and I put myself in any political position, I'm going to lose myself. I'm going
Mhm.
to just get crazy. I will not be, there will not be a GPS to help me
Mhm.
to navigate through that mess that is the Panamanian social politics. It will be impossible. You need somebody that create those changes from within. We should inspire leadership. We
Mhm.
should try to attempt to create leadership within those communities. That will be a better use of our time and talents or experience than pretend to be the leaders that we come from completely different backgrounds and experience. We cannot do nothing else. Doesn't matter how much brain you have, how much smart you are. Any social change has to come tied with a political change. But coming from outside, it will not work. I really doubt it. I don't know. I do not own the truth, but I don't think it will work. I was carrying the Panamanian flag in New York a couple of weeks ago, and people was telling me you should run for a position in elected government. I said no. What I gonna do that to my people or to myself? It will be. I think at this particular point, after 19 years living outside the country, I am completely. I do not will know. I will not know how to be more effective, but
Mhm.
I am very certain that I can provide an investment of time and resources in create better leadership, in create people that are willing to do the change, that will be more fit than any one of us that come from outside the country to create those
Mhm.
changes. It is my true belief.
Now, looking at yourself now, what would you tell yourself, your 15-year-old self? So take yourself from the age you are now and looking back when you're
Oh,
15. what would you tell yourself?
Don't stop believing, kid. Don't
Mhm.
stop believing. Don't stop believing. Don't listen to people. If you fail in life, I'm gonna give the advice I tell my kids: fail under your own pretext, your own precepts, your own ideas. Don't fail over somebody else's ideas. The
Mhm.
person can give you an advice out of love,
Mhm.
but doesn't mean that it's gonna be a good advice.
Mhm.
Do not be afraid to fail. That's what I tell. And if you fail, fail big. Do not be afraid to fail. Don't let that stop you. Don't be afraid of being ridiculed, to be changed difference. I when I was 15 years old, I in some aspect I want to fit in. And I am grateful now that I didn't do it. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be different. And I would tell to that kid, keep believing, kid. Keep believing. Things gonna pay off.
One more question, and this is going to be the last question because I know that you are very busy. Now, growing up in Colon, I am working with Donald, like I said, and there are a group of kids that he works with, and there are a lot of children that have a lot of potential to do amazing things. Now, if they see somebody like you who feel hopeless because these kids are in Colon, what advice would you give them?
Change is possible, and change is within them. Change, it is possible. It is possible to change things. It is possible to turn around the tides. There's a saying in Latin America, it's in Spanish, una golondrina no hace verano, and that
Mm-hmm.
means something like a one little bird will not make summer. But
Mm-hmm.
if you tell that to Nelson Mandela, to Martin Luther King, to Malcolm X, you will be insulting their legacy and their memories. One person can create a change for the whole country, a lasting change. You
Yes.
just require an example. So I will say then the worst thing that we have, it is the resignation towards the status quo. That's the worst thing that we have, the lack of capacity to say we can make this thing, we can improve this thing, we can change it. We believe that if we put our effort or talent, we can build something better than what we have. Losing that handicap of our soul has been the worst thing of the Panamanian, of the Colon crisis at this particular point, if I'm dare to say.
I think that was amazing, amazing, amazing advice. I want to say this live because I always save them for people to who couldn't make it. They could watch it on the replay. Daryl said, the young people need hope. The young people need to know George Clark is the first Black Panamanian canal ship captain. Young people need to I guess know Marion Clark is the first Black Panamanian dean of School of Medicine. Mario, you are late, but it's better late than never. Um, you missed the whole conversation, so you're gonna have to come back in the live. And Amazing Oski says, just look at you, VGIRL. We have never had this type of representation in YouTube. Um, that is very true. And you guys have been amazing. I am says, thank you, Mr. Farnum. You are a role model. I really like to have these type of discussions because I feel like a lot of people who left Panama and went to the States and did their own thing, they don't really get recognition. People don't know. People don't even, I mean now, but when I was growing up, people didn't even know where Panama was. So I wanted to use my platform to create a platform for other Panamanians to be able to share their experiences. People don't know that there are Black people in Panama. I don't know why they feel that way, but they do exist. And not everybody, especially people that come from Colon, is not what the people in the comment section say. A lot of times people, when they talk about people from Colon, it's never in a good light. They talk very ill, very, very ill. You could go to Dia Dia and see a post about Colon. They're always talking about, oh, that's why they live like how they live, all kind of negative things. So to be able to put somebody like you on my platform to show them that no, you came out of Colon and you're doing amazing things for yourself, for your community, for your family, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you so much for coming on my channel. Thank you for so much for agreeing to do this at the last minute, because we was about to have no show, guys. Okay. So I really appreciate it. And if someone is interested in finding you or getting consultation, what is your website?
Oh, it is farnumlawfirm.com. Farnumlawfirm.com. That's the website. You know, before I leave, because you put me in that way. I would like to say something. There is nothing that I dislike the most than hearing the expression, "Not everything out of Cologne is bad."
Mm-hmm.
I hate it with passion, especially when a Panamanian person say it. You know, like somebody from another part of the country. You can write back the Panamanian story without the participation of a few provinces.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot write the Panamanian story without the participation of Cologne.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that is bathed by the sun and the Caribbean and from Europe, from wherever it is, it's not that we are lazy. We like to enjoy life because the climate permits it. There's no Germans in Panama without German work ethic. Everybody in the country is the same thing. And the fact that they try to paint us in a different labor, it is a shameless way of racism that it has been disguised for so many years and generations. We just cannot continue just diving into it. And that is the truth. If people like it or people didn't like it, it is a lot of these things disguised as a criticism born out of racist discrimination and ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. We are not different than nobody within the country. We are as
Mm-hmm.
Panamanians as they are.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that we cook better and we got more flour, more a different kind of swag. So that's the whole difference. So thank you
So
very much. Thank you very much for having me. As a little bit older than you, we are pretty young. You look way younger than me, but I got a different kind of stress in life. But I want to tell you this thing. The same way I told before, I'm going to post this not out of recognition, but out of appreciation for the job that you do. You're doing this thing without for the best reason, without looking for nothing in return. And there's nothing better. There's nothing better than things that we are done with love. And thank you very much for having your space. I really appreciate it. Time went by so flying that I forgot that I got a dinner party to see the election. And
mm-hmm.
it was very enjoyable to have you. As usual, it is very enjoyable to see you. And I love the kind of person that you have grown. I know your parents are extremely proud of you. And keep doing what you're doing, darling. And you're gonna end up doing better, 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 better. And let's make this channel go viral. I like that.
Thank
Actually,
you.
I like the idea a lot. And everybody that took their time to listen to me, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And hopefully we can meet sometime and talk about it more, more positive things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, don't forget, if you are interested in donating to my toy drive for Cologne, the link will be in the description box. It's a GoFundMe. I have posted, again, for those of you who came in late, I posted the gifts that I purchased so far. And I will also leave his website. So if you guys need consultation or immigration services, it will be in the community tab of the YouTube, okay? So if you need to consult with Vernal, or if you need any advice, the website and his contact information will be in the community tab on my YouTube page, okay? Thank you guys so much for always tuning in, and I will see you next week.